So in keeping with the festive theme, I will be showing you 3 delicious Christmas recipes that you can try out at home, even if you're a beginner. From the roast lamb, roast vegetables, and also a delicious lamb gravy. So stay tuned and I'll show you my little secrets into making it extra delicious. Let's start with our first recipe. Now this is the roasted lamb recipe. Over here you can see that I've got a good portion of lamb, and this is a leg of lamb. You can also get different cuts of lamb, but this is what I've decided to go for this particular roast. And I've got all of my ingredients laid out. I will also add them into the description box below, so you can also go out and get those, but you can find a majority of these in your pantry. So the first thing I do is I go ahead and I pierce the lamb just so that you can get a few little pockets where you can actually add the seasoning that we're going to mix next. And this part is crucial because you want to make sure that the lamb is fully seasoned and flavored all the way through. Now the first thing I add into my mixing bowl is some of the lemon zest that I grated, and I also added some lemon juice, and of course you can always add your own ingredients to this, but this works perfectly. Then I added some ground black pepper, followed by some all-purpose, and you can switch this out for some sea salt if you don't have that at home. And then I went ahead and I drizzled in some olive oil, but you can also use some vegetable oil for this particular recipe. And all you need to do now is just to kind of mix that all together, make sure that you combine it beautifully. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to prep the herbs. These are essential in making sure that the leg of lamb comes out not only tasty but also fragrant. Rosemaries work really well with lamb, so you want to make sure that you use fresh rosemary where you can, but of course if you can't get access to those, just use some dried rosemary for this particular recipe. Then once you're done with dicing up your rosemary, get that into your mixing bowl and you can go ahead and prep the garlic. You need quite a few of these. If you're not a fan of garlic, it's perfectly fine to use garlic powder as opposed to the fresh garlic, which tends to be a lot more potent. But as it is Christmas, you do definitely want to use the freshest ingredients that you can get, because this is what's going to make it smell even more Christmassy once it's all cooking in the oven. So once you're done mincing the garlic, you can also actually use a blender for this section if you really don't have the patience to dice it or mince it like I did. But anyway, you just go ahead and you mix that into the bowl, and now it's time to season. So this is where the prepping of the lamb comes in handy. So where we've already created those pockets, all you need to do now is just to go ahead and place your seasoning along with the herbs on top and just get those into the pockets so that you make sure the leg of lamb is fully seasoned. And look how beautiful it's already looking. And I promise you the aroma in your kitchen will be amazing. So I go ahead and I place that into the oven, and the leg of lamb in this particular situation took right around 2 hours to cook, but it all depends on the size of the lamb that you're cooking. So make sure you read the instructions on the packaging. But after about an hour, what I did is I removed the lamb and I went ahead and I used its own juices to coat it. So I just coated it right over the top, and this just allows you to maintain the moisture of the lamb. So I just went ahead and used the juice, just coat it all over, and I placed it back in the oven for another hour, and this is the finished product. Now that we're done with the lamb, we're going to go ahead and start with our roasted vegetables. These are going to be a great complement to the roasted lamb. So what you want to do is to get yourself a variety of vegetables. I've got some carrots, courgettes, I've also got some parsnips as well as some potatoes in here. So you just want to get a variety of whatever Christmassy vegetables that you can get. And then I go ahead and start by prepping the potatoes. And the reason why I do this is because they take a lot longer to cook than a majority of the other vegetables. So I just dice them down to the size that I want. I go ahead and give them a quick rinse. Once they've run clear in the water, the next thing I do is I go ahead and I start pre-boiling them. You don't want to pre-boil them for too long. Anywhere between 6 to 7 minutes on a medium heat should be fine. That way you make sure that they are cooked on the inside. So once you get them into the oven, all they're going to do is just brown off on the top. And once I've done that, I go ahead and prepare the rest of my vegetables, as you can see. And you can use as many vegetables as you can. All depends on your taste and what your family likes. And once you do that, you can just go ahead and place those onto a baking tray, and make sure that you do have either foil or a baking sheet underneath so that they do not stick, because you don't want to lose all of the goodness of the vegetables on the baking tray. Then of course you want to go ahead and season. I've got some salt, some paprika, some black pepper, and some garlic powder in there. Then I drizzled some olive oil just so that you can combine all those seasonings together, and then just give them a good mix. And once you've done this, you will see that it's already looking beautiful, and we love beautiful looking food on this channel because it just makes us want to eat more of it. So this is what you have: beautiful vegetables, well seasoned, and already kind of parboiled the potatoes, so you don't necessarily have to worry about them cooking unevenly. And then once you've done this, all you need to do now is to place them into the oven and allow them to roast for about 20 minutes. Once they've roasted for 20 minutes, what you want to do is to go ahead and prep the other vegetables that are going to cook a lot faster. And what you can do is to season them with the same seasoning that we used previously. So this is just kind of wrapping in all the different flavors. So I go ahead and I season these. You can see some cherry tomatoes, some bell peppers. I also have some broccoli in there. And then you just go ahead and give these a good mix. Make sure that all of your dry spices are fully mixed into these vegetables. 20 minutes are up, and as you can see, the first batch of vegetables that we've already cooked are looking very, very good, nice and crispy already, but they're not all the way done. So this is a perfect time for us to add the other vegetables that we just finished seasoning. And once I add these, you can see just how beautiful the roast vegetables are going to look. And this is why it's important to use a variety of vegetables on different color schemes, because this is exactly how you want this to turn out. So when you place it on a table, it's actually tempting for people to want to eat the vegetables. And then I place those back in the oven for 15 minutes on low heat, and as you can see, they've all cooked beautifully. It's so aromatic, and I just already want to sit down and have my lamb with these vegetables. But of course, we are not done just yet. We need to go ahead and make our lamb gravy. So let's go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to make this gravy from scratch. The first thing I've done is preheat a pan. I've then gone ahead and added some lamb stock that I actually got from the lamb that I've just finished cooking. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some cold water to some cornstarch and mix it up. This is meant to thicken the gravy, so that's why I'm using cornstarch. You can actually use corn flour as well, it's similar, or just use plain flour to create the thickness. But of course, if you do not have that and you want a quick cheat for getting the gravy, you can just buy Bisto gravy and mix that in. The only issue with that is you only get chicken or beef, so therefore you don't have much options in the flavoring, whereas with this you get exclusive lamb gravy. And look how beautiful the gravy is looking with little to no effort. Just amazing. And just like that, we are done with the gravy and it's ready to be plated. So now that we're done with our 3 recipes, I wanted to take a moment to just show you how they all came out in the end. Here is the lamb. It smells so amazing and it tasted even better. And I definitely feel like this is a recipe that you will also love. And as you can see, the vegetables came out really well and they paired beautifully with the lamb. And they are also the type of vegetables you can eat just as they are. So if you do not even want to do the lamb recipe, I definitely encourage you to try out the roast vegetable recipe because you'll absolutely love it. I couldn't help myself. I had to go in and get a little taste. But of course, if you have loved these recipes, for Christmas. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on my next video. Bye bye.